What's up, everybody? Fernando out there, and we're at the brand new GTA 5 live stream. Today I got the brand new Nightshark that has been released. We're not in it right now. That is a little slap of it. And we got Rev with us. What's up?
What's up?
What's up? So today we're gonna be checking out the new Nightshark and all that awesome stuff. And yeah, before we get into it, let's leave this top of the building. I don't know why we came up here. Alright, let's jump off here. What's up, Reaction? What's up, Nathan? What's up, GTR? How you doing, Ash Pez? Hey, Uriel. Hey, Spy Thor. Hey, Nathan Miller. Hey, Ash. Hey, everybody. What's up, Gavin? What's up, everybody? What's up, Nightbot? Nightbot's in here. You already know. You know Nightbot's in here. Cheese says new Insurgent. Yeah, it's called the Insurgent. I guess in this, since we've already had so many Insurgents, I guess you could call it the Insurgent 3.0. But I don't know what you can call it. Let's go to our garage first and actually let's check it out here and drive to our garage while it's being delivered. Here we go. How you doing, Blue Wolf? What's up, Isaiah? What's up, Typical? Internet. I think it's in Warstock. Hey, Typical Player. What's up, Husky? Okay, so here it is. It's the Nightshark. Part of the Gunrunning DLC. Dude, that 1,250,000 for the Nightshark. So if you want to, you know, buy this Nightshark, you're gonna have to have a pretty penny. Cause this thing's expensive as shit, bro. 1,250,000. That's crazy. How you doing, Jace? What's up, Husky? What?
Is it like an Insurgent?
It is an Insurgent. It has guns at the front, and you can shoot from it while you're inside. There's a special moment in the life of every billionaire when you realize that everyone else is trying to kill you and steal from you. And when the time comes, you want a vehicle built exclusively to cater for that paranoid delusion. Enter that Nightshark where you can sit in perfect comfort behind tinted sniper-proof glass as the filthy hordes press against your armored hull. Then pull the trigger on the dual machine guns and relax as the car does all the hard work for you. Who's crazy now? That is insane, guys. What's up, Pamela? What's up, Jonathan? This is pretty sick. I've seen him, just haven't been here for a while. That's even unblocking me. I should do this way. Alright, let's go. How you doing, Rockman? What's up, Pamela? What's up, Killer Ghost? How's everyone doing, guys? We have 35 people watching. We're only at 22 likes. Can you smack that like button? Hey, Jonathan. Hey, Nathan. How you doing, Husky? Guys, as always, don't forget to join our Discord. It is Nightbot. We'll put it. I forget to put it in the description all the time. How you doing, Crazy? What's up, Mighty Mice? Hey, Nice Insurgent. This is my old one. This is the 2.0. I still need to get the 3.0. We just ordered it. Let's go grab it from our garage. Oh my goodness. I don't know how that guy's still alive. That car is dead. Rockman says shark attack. Alright, let's head over to the Maze Bank. Here we go. Yo, you coming? You buy one too? Hey, Julian.
Yeah.
Nice. Can you play some Rainbow after this? For sure. We'll play some Rainbow. As always, don't forget to smack that subscribe button if you are new. Do appreciate it. Ken Plus, he broke the other one, so what? Hey, Bo. How you doing, Bo? What's up, V Smokey? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? All right, let's go. Hey, Richard. Let's go this way. John says, "Can I join session?" Of course you can. It's open lobbies. I said it to friends, and we only have 9 people in here. So if you guys do want to join us, send me a friend request. Hey, Idiot Show. Hug Fernando. Let's check it out. Office Garage 2. Yeah, that's the Discord, guys. Don't forget to join up on the Discord. Hey, Darren Miller. Just hey, everyone. Hey, Banana Head. Love your channel. Thank you so much, Banana. All right, here we go. Let's go grab the new Insurgent, guys. Hey, Sneaky Impress. Nice at Sneaky Impress. Hey, TJ, we have 4 people watching, guys. Can we get 40 likes? I know we can do it. For real. Oh my gosh, that guy came from the air. Okay, so here it is. This is the Nightshark, guys. It's really short. Like, it's not very tall. My character is almost as tall as it. Hey, Husky. Hey, kiddos. Hey, Addo. It's really nice, though. I feel like it's a luxurious armored car. Let's go check it out in the respray shop by Eclipse Towers. Hey, Tom. For real. Apparently, snipers can't go through those windows. Bulletproof windows. Hey, Bo. Hey, Tyler. I know, that's crazy. How you doing? Obey. What's good, Canadian homie? Not much. The Canadian Dwarf Olympic Games are up. Rev's participating right now. Hey, Jonathan. So don't forget to tell him congrats. Hey, Nathan Miller. Hey, Bo. Can I join your rainbow game? Guys, we're not doing rainbow right now, so please don't talk about rainbow when we're doing a GTA stream, please. 50-inch PC, I see everything you do. Wow, Nathan. I didn't know a PC could be 50 inches, but hey, whatever you're into, bro. Hey, Julian. Hey, Banana Head, how much is it? It was 1,250,000, sorry. I'm glad I finally made it into the GTA stream. Awesome. Hey, Todd. All right, so let's go check this thing out. Gotta put the armor on it, you know, the default stuff. Bodywork. Okay, this has got bare stuff to start off with. Like, it's got 4 bodywork options, and in each option has more options. Hey, Brian. USS Fernando doesn't have Xbox One. I will. I'm gonna get one this Black Friday. Okay. We got primary window plates, secondary window plates, and black window plates. Dude, these window plates are crazy. I'm going with the black ones. They look the nicest. Door plates, primary door plate. Dude, it adds so much armor, guys. Look at this. Look at this freaking armor that it adds on. It had like a whole another inch of, I guess, metal, secondary, and black. Gotta go with the black door plates. They look nice. Headlight protectors. Why do you need headlight protectors? Jeez, bro. This car is sick. We're going all out. Oh yeah, black light protectors. All right, engine. As always, you gotta put it up all the way. You know. Hey, dude, show. There's a new adversary mode made. I think. Yeah, we'll check that out too. Titanium side. Where is it? Oh, it's that. Wow. Okay. Dual. Okay, so we go that, or that. I think we gotta go dual exhaust, because exhaust come from the back, right? Let me know in the comments what colors you guys think would be awesome for this car. Let me know, please. All right, we got the primary horizontal grille, secondary horizontal grille, the black horizontal grille, vertical, black vertical, mesh. I really like the vertical. Yeah, I'm feeling the vertical. Oh my gosh, bro. Do you see how many freaking hoods there are? Hey, Julian.
I know.
There's 11 steel hood plate. We got the primary L1, level 1. Oh, we ain't going with level 1 armor. We gotta go with level 3 armor. Oh my gosh, this thing is a beast. I got hacked in $60 out of my savings. I was so mad. Damn, dude, sorry about that. Hey, wait, hey, Dom. Thank you so much, Dom. Dude, the very last armor is insane. I feel like I'm in the rhino suit. I feel like I need to get the rhino suit when I'm driving this. Lime green. All black and pink. Dude, that'd be pretty scary. Black and pink. Freaking delusion.
Silver and white looks nice too.
True. I still didn't get to the colors, so I gotta check those out. Let's see. Lost stuff. Don't need play. Alright, respray! Dude, like, this is gonna be a tough one. Silver, you said? Silver, and I'm feeling silver and crew. Oh. I don't know if it goes, though. Everyone's saying show us the colors. Black and pink, metallic white and pink, black and lime. I feel like let's try a primary crew with black. Dude, yo. That's my channel banner pretty much, guys. Let me know in the comments if you're digging that. Like, that's my channel banner, you know? Kind of have to do this. I feel like that's the move, you know? That has to be the move.
White looks nice too.
What?
Black and white.
Dude, look at my thing. Oh, with the logo on the side? Ooh, that is gorgeous. Everyone saying yes? Yes, everyone saying yes? Oh, damn, that's nice. Dude, the more I look at it, the more I like it, bro. This thing, oh, man. Yeah, let's drop that suspension, make it go even faster. Let's go race transmission. Wheels black. Yeah, I gotta go wheels black. We have 70 people watching. That's what's up. Turbo. Gotta get that turbo tuning. Let's go off-road tires. Ooh, those look nice. Sneak Impression says, I'm digging it. Hey, Adele says, I dig it. That looks nice. Sneak Impression says, digging it. Juan says, digging it. Jonathan says, yes. Kevin says, yes. Let us know what you guys think. Do you guys like it? I'm loving it. Dude. Oh my gosh, this thing is freaking insane. No, that custom tires make it look ugly. Let's go green tire smoke because we're ugly like that, you know? Dude. This is next level. Oh my gosh. I think we're done. Here. Oh my gosh. Woo! Why is that cop body on fire? That is a little scary. Oh, okay. Getting away from that. Kevin says black wheels done. Dude, yeah. I think this was the move. Dude, That blue and white looks pretty nice. But try black and white. Did you try black and white? I feel like black and white would look nice on that. The same white you have on there, just with black on it. Hey, Danny. Hey, Brandon. What's up, Tom? It's a little red thing it reversed. Okay, we'll try reversed. You know what? Just because you said so, Tom. I'm going to check it out reversed. Ah, someone closed it, man. Who closed it? All right, let's go to the other one, Riv. Hey, guys, let me know. What do you think? We could try a different color combination. And remember, if you hold L1, you can shoot from the front of it. So it's insane. So this is a really good one. Red underlights? Yeah. This is console, guys. PS4. Adele says, Adele, sorry. Says 10 out of 10. Better than black ice. Ooh, this thing is nice. Dude, I'm really digging these colors. Your internet's trash now? Damn, Daniel. Back at it again with the nice car. For real, yo. You already know we got the nice cars in town. You already know. Yo, you threw that freaking truck. Why aren't you talking? Hey, Faces. Hey, little Chris. Alright, yo, let's go in there. Why is your mic so low?
I muted my mic, that's why.
There we go. Hey, Dom. Andrew says, yeah, I'm back with my girlfriend. Tell him I'm single. Hey, Faces. Hey, Nathan. Alright, yo, let's go check this out. Let me know what other colors can we try. Hey, Julian. Hey, Jaquan. I am sold on these colors. Like, look at that. That just looks. Jeez. It looks like the death machine right there. Someone said flip the colors. Let's try that first. I want to give that a try. Say we go there. And secondary, we go crew. I mean, I feel like that's too dark, you know? What do you guys think? Thank you, Dom. Hey,
Yo,
Mohammed.
black and white looks much better.
Facts. But I feel like this doesn't. I mean, it's nice. I don't know. I just don't. I feel like I'm an Adidas representative in this car. Try gold and black. A car with black ice would be sick. Kevin says yes, no. Kevin saying yes. Let's try lime green. What's lime green look like? Guys, as always, please don't forget to smack that subscribe button. We have 90 people watching. Thank you so much, everyone that came by. We're just trying out different colors. That's what lime green is. Yeah, I'm really not feeling that. Let's try the metals. We got silver. Oh, that silver looks pretty freaking dope. What if we go that silver and crew red? It doesn't change the plating. That's the only thing that's a bummer. Metals. Can we go gold?
Black and silver, that looks good too.
What if we went gold here? Wait, guys, I got an idea. If we go, I don't want to change all the platings. That's gonna take too long. What do you guys think? What do you guys think in the comments? Let me know. Dom says hi. The first one. Sup, Dom says Faces. I don't know. I'm torn right now. I wish there was an easy way to do all these colors. There is though. Okay, so if we look at our crew logo, we got black, red, and blue. And that's possible right here. Hold on. Everybody chill. Right there. What are your thoughts, guys? I'm definitely not digging the matte color blue. What if we went a metallic blue? Something a little bit nicer. Or what if we went crew red here? Right? We'll say we went crew red. And went with the metallic blue on for the secondary. People are saying no. See, something like that. What do you guys think of that? Do you think that looks like a freaking Tonka truck? Tonka truck. Hey, Jonathan. Hey, Julian. Hey, the squad. What's up, everybody? Guys, let's try getting 12,400 subscribers. Hey, the squad. Do you guys think that's a no-go? No-go? Let's just go matte black on it. Is that the thing? Bad? Kevin's saying yes for everything, dude. I think this is the move right here. Yeah, that's definitely the move. Alright, so I think we'll keep it stock. Not stock. This is nice fashion police. Won't stop you. Dude, this is gorgeous. Oh, we gotta change the underglow, guys. Definitely gotta change the underglow. Gotta reflect a nice car. Looks like American sorta. Hey GTA, Jonathan. I don't know what this car is in real life. If you guys know in the comments, or if it is a real life car, that is, let us know. I have no idea what it is in real life. What if we go blue? Oh, that. Yeah, I see that. I don't know if that works. Does that work? Does this work? This is like our crew representative right here. We're at 50 likes. Let's go. Thank you so much, guys. Hey, Elite. Hey, Jonathan. Hey, Julian. Guys, can we get 60 likes? Dude, I think this is the move right here. This is, yeah, this definitely is the move. All right. Hey, Chris. Hey, Dom. Rev, let's go to the airport. Since we got a couple insurgents, we can do a quick race there. See how fast it is. It looks like you were trying to be a blood and a crip when you had the blue and the red. For real. Fernando, when is face cam coming? It should be coming this week, guys. I'm sorry. It should be coming this week. Hey, Brandon. Got that XX Tentacion. That's his profile picture. Dude, this thing doesn't take any damage, bro. I mean, it does, but like, very little. Stop screaming! I'm not screaming. 412. My friend is in this session. Nice, guys. It is open lobby. We have 11 people in here. If you do send me a friend request, I will accept it. I'm sorry, I may have forgotten to accept some friend requests.
The car's pretty fast too.
For real, bro. This thing's like a speeder. Can you shoot from the inside? No, you can't. I don't. Yeah, obviously not. There's like a little hole to see through. Oh no! Let's try driving first person. Oh my gosh! This is dumb.
Oh, you can't drive first person? What?
Yo, guys! I'm driving. I'm doing it. Mom, get the camera. Hey, Chief. Yeah, this is a joke. This legit has to be a joke. Oh yeah, that's why you don't drive in first person, guys. Cause you can't see more than your like freaking size of your arm. Oh my gosh. You legit can't see shit. Like your car has to be aiming at a bit more to the left so that you can actually see where you're going. Oh my gosh. Okay. Can we do this? I wonder. Yes, we can, boys and girls. Whoa. Oh no, we can't. That was interesting. I have a modded Xbox. That's not good. Hashtag recording, says Nathan. Let's go. Is that Max? No, that's Money Chris. Sorry, Money Chris. This thing's strong, dude. It is almost impossible. It's not practical in real life, but I guess if it was a smaller mission, like you were trying to race like we are, it's possible. Alright, yo, let's line up right here, okay? Everybody line up. Everybody line up. I don't know how we're gonna go. Oh, actually, we'll do an impromptu. Hey, Reiko. What's up, Fernando? What's up, Uriel? What's up, Chief? Let me go accept some friend requests while we get people getting in here. Here we go. Oh, I just opened up my Steam because I pressed the menu button on PS4. Hey, Ian. Hey, Joe. I have PS4. For real, dude. It's the crew. And that frost on the outside is just... Oh, I think I don't have the frost anymore. I have to get it. Hey, Tom. Hey, Ethan, sis. I'm saying WTF at work. Hey, Jonathan. All right, ready? Let's wait for one more insurgent. No, we're not going on that. You guys go. Yeah, go. Okay, hold on. Line up. We got a helicopter. Okay, what's this helicopter doing? No. Okay. What's your gamer tag? It's Fernando353, guys. Send me a friend request. Nightbot will put it in the comments. Hey, Jack. Okay, England is my city. Yeah, it is. All right, I'm gonna invite everyone to an impromptu. Hold up. Let's do this. Let's get this done. Let's get her done. We're almost about to pass 100 people watching. That's what's up. That is what is up. Invite all players in range. Hey, Chris. I don't know why they're going. I really don't know why they're going. How you doing, Boosie? What's up, Jordan? You guys want to join us? Hey, Sophia. Hey, Chris. Join up on the impromptu. Okay, you ready? Here we go.
Yeah.
Let's go. 3, 2, 1, go! Whoa. Dude, these things are quick. That 811 got clipped. Hey. No, damn it. That turtle got it away. Hey, Reiko. Hey, Sneak Impressions. Yo, these things are quick. Like, we're keeping up with the freaking Zentorno right now. Who can get the finish line first, though? That's the real question. You passed it. Hey, Chris. Yeah, we passed 100 people watching, and we're almost at 70 likes, which is insane. Awesome. Woo! Alright, so, yo, I think we gotta test this out going off-road, eh? Like, I mean, it is an off-road vehicle. Okay, chill. Alright. Stop shooting. Everybody follow me. Hey, Andrew. Let's go, this way. We're going to my Chiliad, and I'm gonna get rammed hard. Oh my gosh. That guy flew over the freaking gate. Hey, oh my gosh, how am I stuck here? Hey, Kevin, how you doing, buddy? This way, guys! What the heck? What the heck just happened?
Oh.
What's that noise? Oh, okay. I'm sorry about that. What is that noise?
What noise?
Oh, it's in game. It's the sound of the. Oh my gosh! I just opened up Steam. Hang on, guys. Freaking Steam. I hate Steam. Exit Steam. It's not letting me exit. Here we go. Exit. There we go. Sorry about that. I apologize. Hey, Sophia. Thank you so much for subscribing. What's up, Ray? What's up, Tom? What's up, Faceless? What's up, everybody? All right, let's go. Oh my gosh, yo, I'm dead ass about to kill your ass. Like, freaking kill yourself. Destroy your car. Frick, there you go. Take that. Like, you know, it gets annoying when you get rammed every 5 seconds. Thank you for subscribing, guys. Hey, RN says, just sent you a friend request. I'm Electro Raver. Okay. Repair your vehicle and meet up outside. I'll just go accept some friend requests. Hey, Jay. Says, I'm tired. Are you, dude? Yeah. 1 second, guys. There we go. Alright. LOL, yesterday, Modder gave me 70 million. Alright, here we go. Hey, J-Paul. Okay. So, I got my car. We're good. Hey, Tom. Hey, Weeby. And I think we're ready. So, everybody line up here. Oh, that's the freaking Dodo seaplane. That's what I was hearing. Why can't I join? You gotta be on my friends list, bro. You gotta be on my friends list. Hey, Kevin. Hey, you real. Okay. Line up, everybody. We're getting so many friend requests. 1 second, guys. I'll go accept them in 1 second. Let me go put a waypoint to freaking top of Mount Chiliad. Let's do that real quick. Rev, you know you're about to take an L?
Why?
Am I in an impromptu race?
No. Maybe.
Why am I in one? I don't know. I'm gonna leave it. It says that. Okay, that was weird. Impromptu race.
Why are we lining up here?
Cause you only live once, bro. Yo, oh my gosh, someone's in my car with the freaking marker. Sorry, guys. Hey, Skelly. Vehicle. There we go. That's why I couldn't. It said it was weird. They had a marker on. Okay, ready? Here we go. Impromptu race. Invite all players in range. What's up, Oxygen? Hey, Chief, guys, please don't forget to smack that subscribe and like button. Hey, Oxygen. Hey, Sneak. Hey, Danny. Hey, Skeletor. Hey, Jew. Alright, you guys join up? Alright, here we go. On the count. That freaking Dodo seaplane is pissing me off. It's so loud, like the motor. Alright, ready? Here we go. Here we go. So we're going up Mount Chiliad, guys, to test out this thing's off-road capabilities. This guy's gonna get kicked. He does realize. Starting now. 3, 2, 1. Like smack! As always, if you guys don't know what like smack is, it's where we smack that like button, screaming out loud, and spamming in the comments. So please smack that like button. Let's go! I see you shooting at me. Stop it. Oh, I'm doing it with wheelie.
Oh,
or
no.
2 wheels. Oh, and I've got stopped. Oh, we're going. Yeah, take that. Zentorno. Hey, Tom.
You ramp cars.
Ah, this thing's quick, dude. This thing's really quick. Go, 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 go. What's up, Juan? I never had to transfer. I will accept Fender cuts after this guy, so do bear with me. Yo, that Insurgent's keeping up real good with us. Oh shit. The truck just pulled out. Hey, dude, Bruce, it says, like Spike! What's up, super better fish, man? Woo! That car messed both of you guys up. Oh, that Insurgent, bro. That thing's just destroying everyone. How's it still keeping up with me? This is insane. Hey, Jonathan. What's up, Sneaky? Thank you so much, everyone, for like Spike Egg. What's up, enjoyment needed, dude? Haven't you been here for a while now? How you doing, Robert? What's up, Uriel? Guys, we are testing the, speed and overall off-road, capabilities of this vehicle. Just trying to see how good it is when we're trying to get up to Mount Chiliad. Just overall things you would need to know in just everyday use of this car. Rev, you're so bad at racing, bro. I saw that. Oh, never mind. I take that back. I take that back. Hey, Alexander. Is Hyke going to stream? I don't know. Ask him. He will. Hey, Ditcha. He will, though. All right, let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Ooh. Full speed. Dude, this thing's a boss. Oh, okay. I'm just throwing cards towards you guys. Ah! Yeah, that didn't work out so well for you, did it, buddy? Take that!
Oh.
Take that! Yeah, take that. Yeah, you don't like that, do you? How you doing, FaZe? What's up, TJ? Alright, yo, time to take a jump, bro. You only live once. Oh, shit. That's a tree. Shit. Yeah, let's just go back down this thing. What's up, Bacon? What's up? Alright, yo. People are just jumping and that guy's following the road. I think he might get there faster than us. Here we go. No, we're gonna get. Oh, okay. There goes Rev. Bye, Rev.
I'm still good.
Oh, still good. Ah! Oh, this thing's got great traction, bro. Guys, like, no joke. This has got, like, crazy traction right now. Okay, maybe not right there. That was a bad place to say that. To Jay says, keep your eyes on the road. What's up, Fernando? It's Harambe. How you guys doing, guys? Please do subscribe. We're only 12 subscribers away from 12,400 subscribers, so let's try hitting that. Hey, Juan. TJ says, invite me. Send me a friend request so you guys can join. That's a car. Go. It's not got a good radius of turning, though. It's got a lot of understeer. Yeah. Way too much understeer. Hey, faces. Oh my gosh, dude. I don't know where to go from. When you say big Insurgent blocking a bridge, it's kind of scary. Ah! I tossed him into the water. Hey, Nathan, do you have bulletproof tires? Yeah, I have bulletproof tires and windows. Snipers can't penetrate these windows, guys. The car was 1,250,000.
Where are you going?
Isn't there a shortcut here? Oh no, it's over there. It's over there. No, the shortcut to get to the shortcut. Oh, I passed it. Damn it. It's back there, guys. I actually never learned that spot. Hey, Isaiah. Dude, it's got such bad turning, bro. Like, legit. I don't think you could do a U-turn on this thing. You have to do like a 3-point turn to do a simple U-turn. How you doing, Ramon Murphy? What's up, Thom? What's up, Faces? Ah, shit. Yeah, Isaiah. Are you doing Rainbow? Rainbow. Actually, yeah. This thing's got great traction, bro. And I put off-road tires on it too, so should be good. I'm going up it right now, and it's going pretty fast, like it's normal speed. Hey, TJ, make your truck look like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle truck. Deadass. All right, we're gonna try going up this, off the trail. Let's see if we can do this. Here we go. Oh, dude, this thing. Oh my gosh, it's good. It legit loses no speed. Bro, we gotta try. Guys, let us know in the comments if you want us to try out the hardest trail climb in this. Because there's just one trail in Mount Chiliad where... Oh, shit. We're going legit straight up. Money Chris is just going at it, bro. You know what? Let's go that way. Why not? You only have one. Let us know if you want us to try it. It's a pretty freaking steep trail. This is somewhat steep, you know? It's decent. Rev, where you at, bruh? Yo, is it Hardeep? It is, dude. How you doing, Hardeep? Welcome, bro. Welcome to the chat, man. Guys, hashtag Hardeep. He supported so much, guys. He helped us build the PC. Really appreciate it, Hardeep. He was a crazy day one supporter, man. Bro, really appreciate her deep. Hey, dude, chill.
Fall down the mountain.
Morty Chris is in the outside. Zentorno. Should I push him off? He's in the Zentorno, dude. I gotta push him off.
Push him off.
Yeah, you know, like, I'm sorry, bro. I love you.
Bro, I fell down.
I dead ass just threw this guy off. Yo, I hear that Dodo seaplane. What the hell? Where'd you come from? What? What? Wait, what? You were below me, were you not?
Yeah, I fell down. I came right back up.
What? This thing's so good at it. What the heck? Yo, we gotta try the hardest trail. You should raise the suspension. Yeah, that would definitely increase its ability to go up mountains, but speed-wise, I don't think so. Hey, zombie. How you recovering, Hardeep? I'm killing bare people up here. Yo, we got these cars up. Oh, shit. Dude, this thing climbs, guys. Like, I'm letting you know. You guys should get this car if you want a fun time with it. Like, for real. It's just great at climbing. Maybe not those rocks, but I'm doing great, Hardeep. Glad to see you in here, bro. Really, yeah. We're at 82 likes. Let's try getting 100 likes at 12,400 subscribers. We're only 12 away. All right, you up here? Okay, so let's all line up over here. Bro, this thing's quick,
Someone's
man.
gonna hit you for sure.
Oh, yeah. It's probably you, but yeah. Hey, Nathan.
Woo!
Woo! We good, we good.
No!
Oh, my gosh. Oh, my gosh.
Ryan,
Can you
what's
stop
happening?
freaking hitting me? All right, we're good. So, what we're gonna do now is we got up there really fast in this vehicle. Like that's one of the record times I gotta say
Bro,
that I've been
I'm
up here.
climbing this backwards.
Look, what the hell? You went up so fast too. What? So what we're gonna do is I think let's just gun it down and let's just climb right back up the hardest trail possible. All right. Here we go. Hold on. Let me just climb back upwards. You know, nothing big. Nothing big. Just get up here. Let's add Jelly to the Skype call because he's low-key in the thing. Just not saying anything. 1 second, guys. Bear with us. Where's Jelly? There he is. All right. There we go. So,
Shadow.
on the count of 3. Here we go. 3! Hey, Stacy.
Oh.
Oh, shoot. Oh, shoot. That's a rock. That is a rock. That's another rock. Woo! Here we go. Here we go. Guys, always don't forget to join our crew. It's called United Brownmen. I will put up on the screen as we get down. As we get down. Oh, my gosh. I just almost destroyed that car. Here we go. Here we go. The best off-road car in the game? I actually don't know, dude. Like, this thing's so fast, and it's so armored, and it's so good at climbing stuff. Like, it just makes sense. Oh, here we go. Boom! Landed it! And we landed it. Wow, that was pretty cool. That is our crew, guys. It's called United Brownmen. And yeah, you can get this awesome, dope logo that says Fernando on the side. It's a cool little F, not Fernando, made by Ro. Appreciate that. But yeah. I'm mad at you. Why are you mad at me? Alright, let's go repair our cars, dude. Let's go repair it and let's try our freaking the hardest route possible. Hardeep, how's your mom doing now, bro? Is she recovering too? She good? Fully recovered? Woo. That was a
What
hard
happened to Hardy?
Hardeep got into an accident where someone hit his truck while he was stationary. And his leg broke and he had a surgery. His mom fell down the stairs, which was a really bad one too. Hey Faces, hey Sophia, but I think they're all good now. We have 130 people watching, guys. Can we get 100 likes? I know we can do that easy. And please do subscribe. I do appreciate it. Cool. Alright, where you guys at? You ready?
Hold up, we're repairing it right now.
Dude, that Spectre looks freaking dope. I need to put on this Frost White. Hold on. Let me put on the Frost. Frost White Pearlescent. There we go. Go, go, go. Dang, Fernando, you're rich in the game. You already know, bro. We rich out here, you know? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Frost White. Oh, Ice White. Ice White looks insanely nice. All right, here we go. So this is what it was originally at. Okay, you ready? So we're not going to race there. We're just going to go. Follow me. We're gonna go to the spot that's really hard, guys. So on this mountain, as you can think. Oh yeah, you could attach a trailer to it too, which is insane.
Whoa.
You want to take a trailer? Let's take a trailer. I'll call my trailer real quick.
Why? It's gonna probably come off.
Oh no, it doesn't. I can't call it. That would be sick. That'd be sick. Hey, Blue Bugatti, what's up, Rage? Yo, hold on. Hold on. Is this guy trying to... Yo, blow this dumbass up. Freaking harass this kid, bro. This kid's sped. Trying to blow up. Who you trying to blow up? Yeah, blow yourself up, dumbass. Blow yourself up, dumbass. Yeah, that's right. Alright, we good. Let's go. Let's go. Remember his name. Skills Elite 21. Fernando, mom doing good, bro. She just kind of sick, but better than before. Awesome, man. That's awesome. Hey, Tyler. Hey, Cole. Alright, yo, Rev, let's go. Let's go this way. Where's it at? I think it's somewhere this tree side. Oh! Dude, that car just got destroyed. How you doing, Sophia? I can watch again! Awesome. Woo! Oh, here it is, right here. Okay, so, in my personal experience... Train! Oh, I barely made that. What the heck? I legit barely made that. Okay, so this is the trail right here. Hey, Rage. Tried sending friend requests. Let me go accept friend requests real quick. Hold on. That trail is really difficult, guys, because at one point it's almost 85 degrees upwards, if that makes any sense. If 85 degrees is like almost like straight up. Okay,
You
right
want
here.
to go to the cops right here?
Okay. There we go. Hold on. Let me go first. Actually, you go first. You go first. All right, go, go, go. Here we go. Hey, Jonathan. Hey, Reaction. I'm really happy you're recovering though, and your mom's doing better. Pardeep. Awesome. He's a great guy, guys. He's always helping out. He's always sticking around in chat, moderating, and doing all the awesome stuff, even while driving back in the day. Why is Triple Young still there? What the heck? All right, here we go. Oh shit. We got a little incident back here. Yo, that guy's still trying to come after me.
Which way do you go?
Go left.
Go left. Left is the rock there.
Oh, yo, kick that guy off the mountain if you can. Throw him off. There we go. I threw him off.
Oh.
All right, here we go. He's not gonna make it for long. Oh, what the hell? What the heck? That wasn't even my fault.
No, he pushed me down too.
I didn't push you down. That freaking car pushed me down. Yo, if you guys can't take care of that green car. Yo. No, this isn't gonna work. All right, we got this. We good. Look at this thing. Woo! It's a natural, bro. Oh my gosh, no.
I'm good.
Tater tatter. Yes, Shadow. All right, go left. Yeah, around this tree right here.
The tree.
You're supposed to go over it, buddy. Hey, Frank. Yo, what's up, Frank? I tried sending friend request, but it didn't work. Oh, sorry, bro. Keep trying. Oh, shit. What the hell? Oh, no. Shadow stuck on a tree.
Go.
Okay, no, that route's not... I don't think it's... Hold on, back up.
Shadow, I want to back.
I don't think Shadow can back up.
It's a tree.
Oh my gosh. Alright, here we go.
No.
No, I'm stuck on it. Hold on. Dude, I think that's the second time we blew up that guy's bike. Poor guy. Yeah, let's go left. Hey, 2K go. Yeah, it is open lobbies. What's up, Ajero? What's up, Dank? We have 140 people watching and we're almost at 100 likes. Dude, okay. Wait. Stop there. Stop right there. Guys, look at how up that is. Like, just take that in. How straight up that is. Okay?
Whoa.
We're gonna climb this like nothing. I'm telling you right now. Hey, typical dabs. We are going to climb this like nothing right now.
I fell down.
Got you, Shadow. I didn't get him. I pushed him down. Yo,
Bro,
look at
come on,
this.
car.
This is crazy. We gotta go over here because there's a little bump. Oh, look, it's struggling. Obviously, it's gonna struggle. It's straight up, but we're gonna climb it like nothing. Watch. Hold on. How you doing, Jessica? How? Great to see you in here after a while. As always, if anybody is new, guys, please do subscribe. We're almost at our goal of 12,400 subscribers. Here we go. Yo, I'm legit going straight up right now. I'm legit going almost straight up. No, that little jump. Oh, those little things are crucial when you're going straight up. Hey, Jared. Hey, Sophia. It's just gravity, guys. Yo, look at how fast up we're going straight. Like, this is mad. You know what? I'm not gonna go around that. I'm gonna go up that rock. Here we go. It's not full.
No.
We only have 16. Yo, I just went up that rock like a boss. Up another one. Hey, Giovanni.
I can't make up that rock. What the hell?
You just gotta slowly jump it. Oh, here we go.
Oh my god.
Woo! We just made it to the top, guys.
Go Shadow.
Up the steepest path possible. Yo, that freaking dodo seaplane's gonna die. That shit's pissing me off right now. But yeah, we have 163 people watching too. Yo, that is, you know, freaking crazy. Oh, okay. That's here we. Okay. I'll just back up a little. Wow. Okay. Make it even higher. Guys, I don't think you guys understand how freaking insane that was, but we just went up that straight.
What? You went straight up that straight?
We went up that straight. Hey, Christopher. Thank you so much for subscribing. Hey, Eggahen. Hey, Geeter. Hey, 2K. Jonathan. All right. Oh, whoa.
Put Shadow off.
What the hell? This helicopter just threw him off. You good, bro? Let's line up over here. Right here. Let's line up right here. Okay, no, I said line up. You know, the thing is, there's no issue with these cards. When is the headphone giveaway, Hardeep? Possibly at 12,500. So only 100 subscribers away. We will be giving a headset away. We already announced. Okay, so I think we gotta do this one more time, right? Go down it?
Yeah.
Alright, guys, so what we're gonna do now is we are going to go down this in the new vehicle. You guys ready? Here we go. 3, 2, 1, go! Go. Gotta catch him all. Look, it says the tornado that tried killing us. Oh, I landed it alright. Oh, Shadow landed alright on me. Come on, make it through these rocks. Oh, your boy is a G. We have 184 people watching. We hit 100 likes. Hey, cool guy. Hey, Christian. Hey, Chewy. Oh, that's a rock. Come on, go. Gotta keep that momentum up, boys and girls.
Freaking rock.
Let's go. We're going, dude. We're going. Yeah! Woo! Dude, that was insane. I think this is my favorite off-road vehicle. Honestly. How about you?
Yeah.
Hardeep at 12,500, buddy. It's so fast, guys. I don't think you guys understand how freaking fast it is. You want to call the other Insurgent and we'll test it out real quick. Dude, this thing's insanely fast. Like, we went up there in record times. That's how you know it's fast. Don't shoot me. Hey, Derezo, let's upgrade our bikes. Because that guy's going to try killing us. Skills elite. Let's upgrade our, not bikes. Did I say bikes? I meant to say... Whoa. Let's repair our cars before, you know, we get killed. How you doing, Uriel? What's up, Alex? Hey, Derek. Hey, Luke. Hey, Derzo. What's your PS4 name? It's Fernando 3 guys. Thank you, Christian Hernandez, for subscribing. Rev, you upgraded?
Yeah. There it is.
All right. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna do one of the biggest tests that I think is another good one, and that is going into the military base. Are you ready?
Sure.
All right. So let's go do this. Let's run this dickhead over. 1 second, guys. Apologize. Alright, so what we're gonna do now is we're gonna go into the military base and we're gonna see who can survive the longest. The only rule is you cannot leave the military base until you have 5 stars, and we leave as a group. Let me add Shadow too while we're going. Hey, Alex. Hey, 2K. What's up, everybody? So what this tests out is how many shots can you take from the tanks. We test out how many shots it can take and all that cool stuff. Hey, Cash King. For real. Hey, Banana. Sounds Indian, Mexican. I am actually Sri Lankan, if you know where that is. Let us know in the comments if you know where that. We hit 12,400 subscribers. Let's freaking go. Thank you so much, guys. You guys are awesome. Fernando gift card giveaway will be at, do it at 15K, bro. For sure, Hardeep. Just let me know when you undo it, bro. We're down. Guys, Hardeep is actually sponsoring the giveaway. It's crazy, man. Hardeep's done so much, and he's going to do so much more, and we really appreciate it, Hardeep. Just want to let you know that, bro. Really do appreciate that from the bottom of our hearts. And yeah, let's go. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Don't forget to hit that bell icon, too. Also, don't forget to join our Discord. Someone put it, Nightbot, we'll put it in the comments below. You can join our Discord down there. Hey, Godim. How you doing, Jonathan? What's up, Idiot Show? What's up, everybody? Hey, Matt Davis. Hey, Robert. How you doing? How you doing? How you doing, guys? I like to shout people out while I drive, you know. Try my best. Hey, Cash King. 12,004K. 12.4K in the comments, guys. All right, here we go. I'm almost at 120 likes, too. Can you accept my friend request? Yeah, let me do that right now. Let me let it drive right here, and let me go accept friend request. My main thing is I love getting you guys in here, honestly. You can ask any of the moderators. We always get you guys in here. And we do that so that you guys get a chance to join us too. I can't move! There we go. My car turned on. What's up, Shadow?
Shadow.
Yeah.
Hi! Dude, do you like the new car?
Boom.
What?
Do you like the new car?
Hell yeah.
Dude, this thing's crazy, bro. Jessica says I shared it on Discord. Thank you so much, Jessica. How did I kill Sir Listen? Yeah, I know. It can pull trailers. It can shoot. What can it do, bro? Hey, 2K Go. What's up, Jonathan? Thank you so much, Jessica, for sharing. Really do appreciate it. How do you not make it up, bro?
Someone hit me.
Sorry so much, Sir Listen. I don't know how I killed Jay Senator. Hardeep, Bolt made the Discord, buddy. It's insane. He made it well. Hey, Ganesh. Yo, let's just tear this place up, get 5 stars, and we'll try making it to Los Santos and escaping in a plane. That's our great getaway. Oh, there's a tank. Oh, there's multiple tanks. Oh my gosh. Woo! Dodge those.
Don't worry, Fernando. It can take 8.
Hey, there's the next Belgium. What's up, dude? We got 2 Belgiums in here, Jelly and Shadow. What's up, Senator?
I'm not Belgium.
Hey,
Shadow is from you.
Hey, Justin. Same thing. Hey,
No, it's not.
All right, yo. Are you guys in here?
Yeah.
I don't have the car, so I'm gonna fly over with the Hydra in case that kid comes back.
Yo, that guy, he's failing so badly. Like, everyone's killing him, too. Hey, Ian. What's up, Cash? Enjoyment needed says the new Insurgent is so good. Guys, it is. It's 1,250,000. And it's an insane Insurgent. Oh, shit. You
Bro, I can't make it off.
How are you this bad? Woo! Oh my gosh, those are...
So much tanks.
Oh, yo, they're shooting at each other. That's how many tanks there are. Ah! Ah! No. Yo, that's crazy. Ah! I took one. I took a hit.
I took 2 so far.
Pull up with the stick. Let it hit. Hey, Liam. Hey, Beverly. Hey, Gotti. Hey, Luke Nader. What's up, Idiot Show? Go that way. Oh, dude, your car's smoking. You want to hop in?
Yeah. Hell yeah.
All right. No, right there. Dude, there's a freaking tank there. No, there's a tank there. You don't just get out of the tank. Oh, my gosh. This guy legit just got out right next to a tank. All right, park on my right side. Oh, my gosh. People keep hitting me. Park on my left side. Yeah. Okay, no, keep going. There's way too many people here. Get in. I'm gonna die. No. I literally have 0 health. I have 0 health right now. Hey, how's everyone doing? What's up, Liam? What's up, Robert? What's up, Frank? What's up, Uriel? You forgot me. No, I didn't, Frank. I didn't forget you. I meant to forget you.
Wow.
Oh, dude. Oh, my gosh. Oh. Yo, we're smoking. Yeah, we're getting out of here, guys. Yo, I think it's time that we get out of here. How about that? Yo, okay, so we gotta make a great escape and survive. Because we're smoking right now, and there's like a billion tanks over there. So if we fail this, jump. We're not making it out of here. Hey, Ian. Hey,
Don't
Faces.
hit my truck.
Bags. Hey, Idiot Show. No! Oh! Hey, Faces.
Go again, you get this.
What's up, Cash? Hey,
it.
Tony. Dude, I made it into a little freaking, you know that trench they have on the outside?
Oh, yeah, I see.
We're on the little
I see your
trench.
lights.
Okay, so let's just try it again. That's our only bet, I think, at this point. Alright, yo, if you guys are in the military base, Jelly, Jelly and Rev, try getting out and chill outside. We're gonna jump out. Hey, how you doing, 2K Go? We're already at 12,416 subscribers. That's what's up. Guys, we are doing a giveaway. Giveaway video was uploaded like 3 days ago. Go check it out. We're gonna pick the winner at 12,500 subscribers. Oh, no, this thing can't make it, dude. I'm dead ass.
I
Not
think you're
joking.
hitting it from a bad angle.
Should I just go sideways? But there's so many tanks there and stuff there.
I made it. You could make it.
Yeah,
Guys, trust me,
you're
this is
hitting
not
it from a
easy.
bad angle.
Yo, we're about to hit 200 people watching, which is insane. Thank you so much, guys. You guys are amazing. Oh, there's a freaking tank there. I really think we're gonna blow up if we take one more hit. If we miss this, we're done. Yeah! No! What? What? We're on smoke. We're on fire. Yo, someone come pick us up. Get up. Someone come pick us up.
Cow truck.
Yo, triple up. No, Rev's here. Let me drive. Please. Please, let me drive. Yeah, get in. Go. I can't. It's not going. It's not moving. Okay. Go. Yo, that was insane. That freaking tank hit us mid-air, guys. How you doing, Faces? What's up, Robert? What's up, Davis? What's up, Shannon? Woo! Can mods get your Skype? Nathan Miller says I can give away for mods at 20K and for other people. We have 200 people watching. Yo, someone take a photo of this and tweet it at me. I know we've had more than 200 before, but that's just insane. 200 people. I really appreciate all the support, guys. Let's try hitting 420 subscribers. So as always, if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe. Oh my gosh, that was crazy, dude. Oh my gosh, I just saw freaking I just saw us jump and I saw a tank shoot at us. I thought we were fine. I thought we made it. We were good, right? And then I look and I see a little flame starting up. I'm like, shit, we're done. That was insane.
Before we took the ramp and
I know, dude. And here's the thing. We're so lucky that we made it on that try too. Because if we didn't, then we would have been screwed. We would have been dead. Yeah. Like legit. Guys, pretty much what the giveaway is a headset, a gaming headset, and all you have to do to win it is you gotta follow my Twitter, Instagram, and subscribe, and that is in the description. My Twitter and Instagram. No. Oh my gosh, we good. Oh my gosh, that freaking cop car destroyed me. Oh no, come on. We climbed up an 80 degrees mountain. This is not gonna stop us. It doesn't go straight up. What is this? How do you not have 5 stars? Wait, we don't have 5 stars? What the heck? There we go. Woo. Alright, we're back on the road. So what we have to do, guys, is we have to get 5 stars and we gotta escape in a jet at the Los Santos airport. Oh my gosh. Dude, this is not my day right now. Like, nothing's going right. I mean, nothing's gone wrong so far, I'll be honest. Oh my gosh. Hey TJ, what's up, Ian? How you doing? Idiot Show. Jelly, what's your thought on the new car? I know you don't have it, but what are your thoughts on it?
I like it. I tested it out with Shadow.
Did you?
Awesome.
Do you plan on buying it if you have money?
I have money, but I'm
saving up.
I need money for the XA21 when it comes out too.
Oh, true. Yeah, guys, this isn't the last car that's coming out. There's more cars that are gonna come out. So make sure you subscribe because we're gonna check it out as soon as they come out. Yeah. Hey, Caching. Hey, Hardeep. Hey, Sneaky. Ooh. Hey, Davis. Don't say bad words. Stop playing GTA. Okay. Ooh. I tried hitting him.
Still have 5 stars.
Hey, Faces. I know, we gotta get 5 stars before we freaking get there, so I'm just trying to shoot up cops and shit. Yeah, take that. Pop your tires. I'm making them crash into each other. Hiding Matos, what's up, Leon?
So why does this look like a cow?
Because Rev looks like a cow in real life.
Shots fired.
Rev, you can't yell at us again. Hey, excellent. Oh, come on, let's go. Hey, then TJ. Alex says, add me on PS4. Send me friend request, guys. We're going to add a friend request right now.
Yeah, great.
Tell us if we're getting shot at. Tell us if we're getting shot at. Tell us if we're getting...
top stars.
Okay, I accepted friend request. There we go. We good. Hey, Leo. Hey, Davis.
That quarter truck don't look bad.
that green one is interesting, you know? Yo, we gotta get freaking 5 stars. How the heck do we get 5 stars?
Would have been easier if we could shoot out of the car.
I know, dude. Did you try driving in first person? It's a joke. It's
Oh,
legit
yeah,
a joke.
yeah.
Hey, Inyo. Hey, Frank.
It's funny.
How you doing, George? Hey, Cassius. Like,
Interior
you,
looks so squish.
I know, dude. Like, I feel bad for the people riding inside of it. Okay, so I think we only got one option at this point. Because we need to get 5 stars. That's the rule. We can't leave without 5 stars, right?
Yay, I'm dead.
What? Oh, okay. I thought you were in the car and you died. Hey, Dink. Hardeep. Hey, Christian. Oh, we have 209 people watching, guys.
Have a shootout.
Can we get 150 likes, guys? So we gotta get 5 stars and we have to escape. How are we gonna do this?
Go on top of the a roof or a parking garage.
All right.
Shoot.
2K says I'm on top of you. That's just how I like it. Hey, Jaden. Go, 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 go. I would drive in first person and make me see, like, you know, where I'm turning better, but that's not possible. Okay, so what we're gonna do, we're all gonna jump out and we're gonna shoot only helicopters and stuff, okay? Use RPGs so that we don't shoot each other, please. Because that's not something we want to happen. Just end up killing each other. Yo, it's a duh! Hey, doing a duh. What's up, nice dopes? Alright, here we go. Oh my gosh. Take out helicopters. Take out helicopters. Yo, I don't want to lose 5 stars. Where are they? We're over here, guys. Over here. I swear if we lose 5 stars. Yo, I can't take that chopper out. Can't take him out. Take him out. Take him out. Hey, Jaden.
Nice. Oh, we should have brought the anti-aircraft trailer. We could hook it to the back.
Facts. Yo, tell me if someone gets 5 stars. We'll just hop in, okay? Hit it with the stick. Let it hit. Hey, 2K. I think let's just peace out of here. It's getting frisky. Get in, boys.
Ah, you ran me over.
Get in, Lincoln. Shadow. Jelly, you over here near us?
I'm in.
I'm getting my car right now. No.
Okay. Alright, meet you at the airport.
Jelly.
Where you at? Where you
I'll
at?
go to the airport.
We'll come pick you up.
I'm at the cheapest office right now.
Okay, we're coming. En route.
He's over
Try getting a star and then maybe it'll add, right? 4 + 1.
Yeah.
If that only worked.
It's okay. Hey, Davis. Hey, Hardeep. Hey,
That's what
Sneak
I'm
Impressions. What's up, Uriel? We're getting close to 430 subscribers. That is what's up. We're going to pick up Jelly and we're going to be on our way to the airport to escape. To make our great escape. So, baby, don't worry. But my own. You're by Del Piero, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
put a
on my
waypoint.
way to the city right
Okay.
now.
Stay there, Jelly. We're coming.
Okay.
Ooh. There we go. Head towards us. Thank you, Fianan, for subscribing. Frank says 210 viewers. Yeah, we all the way up. All right, buddy. You're gonna have to get in quick.
Come on, Jolly. Hurry. Oh, he's in the car.
Ooh, Karu. Oh no.
Oh no. This is bad.
Dude. Hop in, buddy. Hop in right now. Like right now. Okay, let's go. Woo! We're off, boys and girls. We're off, guys. We're off. All right, faces. Hey, Frank. Hey, Davis. Hey, Jonathan. Thank you for being here, faces. Frank says, I am 6. Oh, shoot. I just tossed that car, guys. As always, please do subscribe if you haven't already. Okay, someone put a waypoint to the freaking airport. Forget the rules, man. We're not getting 5 stars today. There we go. Hey, Jaden. Jelly says, oh, hi. Don't forget to check him out, guys. Let's try getting 150 likes as well. Here we go. Okay, so we're going to make our great escape at the airport. I'm going to call my Nimbus. We're going to get in the Nimbus, and we're going to nimble our way out. Woo! We blend in with the cops, bro. Black and white. Yeah, Alex. What's your username? It's Fernando about you guys. Send me a friend request right now. Right now. Whoa! Whoa!
You should have gone for a T-bone. This thing is a beast.
Dead ass.
I'm about to die.
Hold X. Hold X. Oh shit. I was kind of scared it might toss us to the right side. Hey 2K. Hey Caching. Hey John. Dude, this thing's got terrible. I mean, it's not terrible brakes, but a lot of understeer. I wish I had better. I wish I had oversteer, honestly. That'd be nice. But it is an armored car, and I see where it's got understeer. All right, got my Nimbus. Woo! Gotta control those little jumps, you know. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Hey, Rio. We hit 430 subscribers. That is what's up. Thank you so much, guys. All right. Hold on, guys. Everybody buckle in. We're about to take the biggest jump in 2018. Woo! All right. That was very unexcited. Hey, Jelly. Hey, Cho. Hey, Frank. Do they really think they're going to penetrate our armor with their little pistols? All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to hop out. You guys are going to shoot RPGs. Everybody shoot one RPG. And we're going to be out of there. Oh, and my Nimbus didn't spawn. It didn't spawn. Hold on. Oh, there it is. All right.
There it is.
Hop out. Shoot right now. Oh my gosh.
Oh
Like,
my.
Freaking guys keep hitting us. Go, 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 go. Shoot up, shoot up, shoot up, shoot up.
Nice, nice.
Whoops.
Nice.
Sorry,
Shoot one
Rob.
RPG and get in. Go, go, go. Get in. Get in, get in, get in. Everybody get in. Guys, get in. Right now. Right now. Right now. Get in.
What the frick?
Go, go, go.
Watch out for that Insurgent.
Facts. Where am I going to take off?
Move to the
No!
right, to the right.
No! No!
Go to your right, straight.
Go, go,
straight,
go,
yeah.
go.
Go, you'll fit under. You'll
Got
fit
it,
over
got
there.
it.
Oh no.
Skirt,
You got
skirt!
it.
Skirt, skirt! We out, boys! We out! We out!
Yeah.
We gotta get out of here! Come on! Come on! Come on!
There's like
Oh.
a good 10 people in here.
Yo, we're losing left side engine. We gotta lose these 5 stars legit. I swear if someone calls them off, I'll be pissed. Hey, 2K Go. Hey, Faces. Jessica says, wants a place too. Yo, that was freaking crazy, bro. I don't know how we all managed to get in here, but we did it, and our engines are dying, so that's just, you know,
We
that's
have at
awesome.
least 8 people in here.
Yep, and we have 226 people watching. If we could hit 300 people watching, that'd be amazing, guys. Don't forget to follow my Twitter and join our crew up. It's called United Brownmen, right there. All right. Okay, so we gotta lose 5 stars. I mean, this is kind of hard because sometimes the choppers glitch in front of us, and it's hard to lose them. Oh, we're at 440 subscribers. Thank you so much, guys. Like right there. Thank you, 5-Bar Tricks, for subscribing. Thank you, Edicho. Hey, Martin. Bro, that was freaking crazy. Everybody just shot out everything, and we just got out of there. Freaking skirted. Why are these choppers spawning in front? Oh, shit.
Try flying higher.
We're down to 1 engine. I mean, I can land without engines. That's not a problem. It's just, you know, it's not easy. Hey, boys. Hey, Jessica. Bro, this thing got shot up good. That freaking Karuma came behind us. I was like, shit, we're not making it out of there alive.
I low-key want the engine to combust right now.
Well, you're low-key correct, because they just did. All right, call the cops off, because they're glitching in front of us. Call them off. We good.
Everyone just
Oh.
jump off.
No, don't jump out. All right, so task is I have to take this to the airport and land there by
If you
gliding.
got enough gliding distance.
Okay, so this is not gonna be easy, guys, because we're already really low right now. Hey, Barrett. Hey, Easton.
You're gonna have to land in the fields.
No, we'll make it. We should be good. I can make it work. Come on. We're almost at 450. Yo, we might hit 500 subscribers this stream. That'll be crazy. We can announce it this stream. All right, no, we got to do a special stream for it, I think, right? This is called gliding, guys. When even in real life, this is what pilots do when their jets die out. They just glide. It's you got to keep a certain speed and altitude at the same time so you could go maximum distance. Thank you, Martin, for subscribing. Hey, Doe. Hey, 2K Go. Really? Really? Really?
Oh
Really?
my god.
Really? Really? Do you not see
You're
that we're
like-
kind
Trying
of...
to get us
He's
killed.
lagging.
Oh yeah, he is.
Yeah, but like this is not the time to lag, bro. We're out of engine. Freaking gliding.
Wait.
Fergie.
Can't we shoot it out this plane?
Oh yeah, we could.
Let's not condone that.
I can shoot for some reason.
Oh
I
shit.
can't
Yo,
use it.
we're losing
No, we
freaking
are.
high.
Fernando, gear.
Gear,
Yep,
get
yep.
the gears out.
We good, we good, we good.
Oh my god. We gotta.
What?
Oh.
How did we die?
Dude,
I landed,
What?
buddy.
That makes no sense. How did we die there? You know how slow we were going? Wow. That really tells you how much I know about flying a plane. Hey Liam, hey Barney, hey Frank, hey Margaret. What? That was interesting, right? What do you say now? Since we have 240 people watching, I'm sure we have at least 30 people wanting to join us, right? You know? So why don't we go do a long haul with all you awesome people? I'm gonna accept every friend request that comes my way. Send me a friend request at Fernando253. There you go, at the top right of your screen. That's my PSN. Send me a friend request. I'm gonna accept it right now. And we're gonna start up a 30-player race. We're almost at 250 people watching, which is insane, guys. Please smack that subscribe button and please like. I do appreciate
Yo,
everybody
Shadow,
that does it.
I have a gift for you. Turn around.
All right, I'm gonna leave this session, go to a new session, and we're gonna
Here,
start up
catch
the
it.
30-player race.
You
Hey,
can
babe.
catch it. Catch it.
Hey, Alex.
Great.
How you
Yeah,
doing,
I
Alex? What's up, Jessica? Boosted joining us, buddy. Hey, Barney. Dylan, thank you for subscribing. We're at 450 subscribers. That's what's up. 10 out of 10 on landing. That's crazy, though. Like, I'm normally good at landing those. You know what?
Been a rock there or something.
You know what I think happened? We were going up when we lost our engines, and I was holding up for too long, even when we were gliding. So like that's why we didn't make it there. But at the same time, the helicopter hit us. Maybe that messed us up a little too. I don't know. It was interesting though. Hey, Dank dude. Xbox, please. We will get an Xbox towards Black Friday. I'm actually planning on getting one because that shit drops to a cheap price, you know. Hey, Shay Smith. Hey, Boosted. Let me know. Do you guys think it's smart to get one then? What do you guys think?
I guess.
Hey, Carlos. Because, like, you know, got a lot of people that are saying, let's get Xbox, buddy. I'm like, you know what? Just, I don't have one. But, like, I feel bad because I should get one. Hey, Wade. Hey, Juice. Guys, all right, Adele. Okay, so I'm in another session. I'm in an open session now. Don't join me now. I'm going to start up the job. It's going to be called Long Haul 3. And this is going to have a monstrous 30-player capacity. So if you do want to join us, all you got to do is send me a friend request, and you can join us. What's up, Panda Boy? What's up, Nathan? What's up, Bolts? What's up, Margaret? What's up, Clawton? What's up, Sophia? Your engine was on fire? Actually, yeah, that's a good point, too. The engine was on fire, so I don't know.
Oh.
Hey, Lope. Hey, Quell. Hey, Carlos. Hey, Moeller. Hey, Shay. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna invite you guys, okay? If you don't get an invite, just join up on me. Auto invite. Wow, someone joined before I even sent out invites. Hey, Miguel. Hey, who's? Hey, did show. What's up, Jason? What's up, Miguel? Why would you buy an Xbox, says Frank? Because there's a lot of people that want to play from Xbox with us, and that's not fair if we don't get one, you know? That's not fair. Join our crew. Gavishan. Accepting that right now. This is the crew, guys. Join up on there. As always. I don't think it'll send it to you, so just try joining on me. Hey, Galvez. Hey, 2K Go. What's up, Ronja? Hey, Christian. But be careful. Like, join quick, eh? Cause
I got
shit's-
cops shooting me, so I don't think I'll do it.
I'm joining.
Hey,
I'm
V-Lone.
joining. I'm
Hey,
joining.
Rainbow. We're gonna do
I'm
Rainbow
joining.
after this, guys. So if any of you guys want to join us, it's gonna be open lobbies. Hey, Meech. Hey, Christian. Just accepting friend requests and starting up. Hey,
Someone
Jose.
killed me.
What's the fastest off-road vehicle? Do you guys know?
Trophy truck.
Do you think this is faster?
Or the
Off-road
bike, maybe.
or
Do you think this is
motorcycle.
faster?
I don't think so.
I don't know. Getting a
Well,
PC in
that's
3
just
weeks for my
easy.
birthday, Fernando. Awesome, Barney. Touchpad,
Wait,
touchpad,
is
touchpad.
this in the off-road class or is it in the SUV class?
What?
This car, the new one.
Oh, it's off road. I don't know if you
Oh.
can
Good
put
God,
it
level 8,000 here.
Hey, Jonathan. Hey, B-Game. Hey, Cam K. Liam. Hey, Laban. Alright. Should we try it out? I feel like we should try
Yeah.
it out.
Do it.
You know what? People aren't gonna pick it, but that's okay. We're gonna pick it, right, guys? Everybody, like, I want all
Yeah.
4 of us to pick
What
it,
are you
okay?
picking?
What do you
off-road
think?
truck.
What do you think? What do you think we're gonna
The
pick? You
trophy
know?
truck?
The freaking
No.
yeah, the trophy truck, cause that's what just came out. Hey, Boosted. Hey, Deep. Hey, Darren. Hey, Idiot Show. Hey, Mackie. Hey, V-Lone. What's the plan today? We're gonna test out this new car that came out. It's $1,250,000. So it's expensive as shit,
Wow,
bro. It better be
22
this.
people.
Not that expensive for the most part.
Nathan,
Yeah,
you didn't
well,
launch yet.
It's expensive, but it's way more than it's worth. Like, I mean, it's worth more than its price. Does that make sense?
That is.
It's
yeah.
it's super. It's good. Like, it's fast. You can go up a mountain like no tomorrow. You can freaking
Mhm.
shoot out of it by holding L1. It has crazy armor, and it's fast as shit. So like, that's
But
that's all
the
you can think
thing
of.
is, the windows are not bulletproof.
Yeah, but you know, how often do you think someone's gonna be able to shoot through that like 1 by 1 centimeter of window space? You know. I mean, I
mean,
know
if
we
they-
almost died, but like practically against enemies like people, I don't think it's gonna happen that often. I think against CPUs it can. V-Lone says, yo, everybody hit touchpad. Hashtag spam touchpad in the comments, guys. Hashtag touchpad. Spam it. Everybody spam it. Everybody spam it. Alright. Look for the car, guys. I only want to see that car, eh? Let's see. I have the Mammoth
Can we even
Patriot.
use it though? Since it has
If I have the time, I'm taking an on-custom one, but I'm not sure if I
Bro,
have
what
the
the
time.
heck?
Oh, there we go. I'm at the topic.
It's not there!
Okay.
No!
It's not
what
there.
do we use?
Just use whatever you want, bro. Oh, that's a bummer. Why would it not be there? Are you sure it's that class?
Yeah, it's off-road, but it has machine guns too, so that could
Ah, sorry guys, we were gonna pick it, but I don't even want to do this. You wanna just leave this? Like, there's no point. Yeah. Let's just leave this. We're gonna leave this and we're gonna start up again. Sorry about that, guys. Hey 2K, hey Danny. Cause I mean, what's a race with a freaking boring ass trophy truck? You know, it's a 10-minute race that's gonna take like 30 minutes now. So I'm gonna switch it up, guys. Do bear with us. Hey Margaret. Everyone's spamming touchpad. Yo, we're already at 460 subscribers. Thank you so much. Don't forget to check out all our awesome friends. Okay. Just gonna back out of this real quick. It's off-road says boosted. Yeah, but I don't think you use it for races.
A lot of people went with the bikes too.
I know. I'm pretty sure they did. Hey, Liam. All right, Frank. Thank you for coming by, buddy. All right. This gives us a chance to like send more friend requests and more people to subscribe. Right. Thank you, Andrew, for subscribing. So smack that subscribe button and join up with us. Hey, Ad.
All you do that, I'ma just race for a
Hey,
bit.
Jonathan. Oh my gosh, why is this loading? Hey, AJ. Leave so that you can join up quick. Because we're going to go up quick. I don't want to take too much time. We're spending way too much time in the loading screens. Alright, here we
To be
go.
honest,
Okay, I'm loading up into the job right now. Job, play job, bookmarked. No, that's not racist. There it is. Long haul 3. Alright, we're starting up, guys. Hey, Jonathan.
Alright,
Hang tight, everybody. It is 1.4 million. Anyone that did join late, the car is 1.4 million. But it's a buy. Like, if you have the money and you have a good supercar, a good sports car, then just buy it. Like, I would just do that.
Oh.
What
You didn't put a livery on your truck.
You can put liveries on it?
Yeah, if you take it to your MOC, you can put liveries.
Oh, we gotta check that out later. Hit it, show.
Damn it, I
Meech
can't
says, I
do it.
subscribe. Thank you so much, guys. Start hitting 500 subscribers. Because if we hit 12,500, we did announce a giveaway video where you have to follow my Instagram, Twitter, and subscribe. All links are in the description. And if the winner has done all those, we pick the winner at 12,500. So, you know, might as well help us get to 12,500 so you have a chance of winning that giveaway. Also, don't forget to follow my Twitter and Instagram. All right, here we go. Hit it, show. Here, D. Pay you real. Hey, Tyler. All right, let's do this. You guys joining up?
I'm
Yep.
joining.
Join up,
I didn't get
join
an
up.
invite though.
I can't invite. I mean, I did.
Join through the PlayStation menu.
Yeah,
He's
I did
joined.
that
He
too.
joined. Hey, George. Hey, Galeb. I don't know what touchpad means because I'm just back and because I was choking. Oh, no. Hope you're better now.
Choking on what?
Okay. Probably food, okay? We hit 470 subscribers. That is amazing. Thank you so much, guys. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much. Nathan says, a touchpad is on a computer, laptop. No, Nathan, no. Touchpad is on the PS4 controller, the DualShock 4. It's a little touchpad thing where you could, you know, touch and pad around, and it's pretty cool. We usually spam it in hopes that it does start the race whenever it says launching and it doesn't launch for a while. Rev, did you join? Hey, Blue Wolf. Hey, Rainbow. Hey, George.
Yeah, I'm here.
Alright. Yo, we're gonna have a full freaking lobby. Guys, this is 30 people. I don't know what I just said. 30 people. So if you want to join us, either join our community known as United Brownman, sorry. Or send me a friend request at Fernando352. Thank you, TCIS, for subscribing. Hey, Sophia. Hey, Cade. Hey, Tom. Hey, 2K. Hey, Nathan. R6 today? Yeah, we're gonna do R6 in a bit. Hey, Clash. What's up, EBL? Alright. There's so many people joining consistently. Hey, Clash. I like this, you know? It's very peaceful now. Everything's calm. Unlike when we were jumping out of the military base, shit was not calm, I'll tell you that much. Hey, Cade. You guys still there? Danny says, LOL, I got another money
Yeah.
bag. Now I have 500 more. Whoa. Danny's a hacker. He's a hacker. Hey, 2K, go. You hit me. Hit it from the back. Hey, alright, yo, everybody spam touchpad once again. Everybody spam it in the comments too. Hey, Sergio. Says, what's up, my dude? What's up, Sergio? Alright, yo, spam it, spam it, spam it. Rock M8. Rockman is freaking level 8,000. That's legit. Hey, Logan.
Yo, that is legitness.
That ass. Come on, start up, man. Hey, Steven. Hey, Sophia. It's all at the end. Oh my gosh. See, this is what I hate about Long Hop, bro. She takes like freaking.
Yay.
Takes so long.
No,
to
only
start.
long haul on
Huh?
every race. Every race.
I mean,
Not
I don't
just
do
long
many
haul.
races other than long haul, you know. Hey, Joshua. Like, I've probably done more long haul than I have streamed, you know. Yeah, man. Hey, Nathan. Study it. Alright, what we're gonna do on the start of this race is we're all gonna yell like spike. And what like spike is, it's where we all scream like spike really loud, like yell it so loud that Shadow's mom wakes up, and we spam it in the comments.
My mom's at the gym.
Exactly. She's probably
She's
tired.
awake.
And we smack that like button. You guys ready? Here we go. 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 Go here
Back
we.
spike.
Make sure my mom
Here we
can
go.
hear it, guys.
Yeah. Make sure his mom can hear it. So just yell it out. Here we go. We're almost there. 3, 2, 1. Like spike! Woo!
Who's the spectating?
Is he? Damn.
Yeah.
Please don't miss this checkpoint. Yes.
Oh no.
Hey, stay.
Oh well, Lincoln. Wow.
I just saw that. You guys did the same exact thing with this. I messed up because I was looking at you guys. Like, you guys spun out so gracefully at the same time.
Well, my car's
You
off.
would be out there.
I saw that, Lincoln. Lincoln, I saw that. Hey, Sergio. Woo! What the hell just happened? Whoa! Shadow, you good, bro?
Oh, what did I hit?
Shadow, I don't. What did you hit, bro?
I have no clue, man.
Yeah! Hey, Rockman. Hey, Devon and Jonathan. Here you go.
Oh my god. Do you see that dodge like?
Ah! My car stopped moving. That's just awesome. Thank you. Hey, Gravy. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Please smack that subscribe button and help a brother out.
Bye, Lincoln.
I'm still here. Don't
Oh,
worry.
you're still there. Nice.
Go, 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 go.
Oh.
Oh, someone crashed them.
Woo! Lincoln, don't hit an
Someone-
invincible barrier. Oh, actually, no,
I
that's your
was
brother.
driving clean and someone smashed into me.
Joey, why were you on the other side of the road, bro?
Someone
Jonathan.
smashed into me.
Oh, dude, this guy's got my Zentorno. Hey! That doesn't mean you take me out. Hold up. No, you're getting.
Oh, this is bad.
Oh
Ooh.
my gosh.
Hey, someone's using a penetrator and it looks nice.
You look nice.
I know.
What is your
From-
mom? Oh!
Yeah.
Just casually say yeah. Alright, come on. Yo, freaking look at where first place is.
Oh
Like,
my.
they're up
Lincoln
Oh
there.
my god, they're far.
Right?
Far ahead.
Come on, come on, come on. Oh, whoa! What the hell? I glitched so hard, man. Really?
Oh,
Yeah,
wow,
that's right.
Shadow, that
Get
guy
taken
took-
out.
Did it?
Bro, that
Oh.
guy is lagging so bad. How you doing, Cade?
Oh, Shadow, you spun him out and his back hit my car, so I spun out too.
Go, go, go. We're only
Hey.
2 subscribers away from 480 subscribers, guys. Let's go. Hey, Jonathan.
You guys are so far away.
Shut up, man. You're
Hey,
probably gonna take
man,
yourself
I
out.
up there who didn't touch me in the beginning.
He's gonna take himself out soon. Just don't worry. Make a crew color 811? I should. That'd be pretty
We are in
dope.
811s. We will catch up.
Facts. You know something's wrong if we don't. Alright, here we go. Here he is. Here he is. Hey, buddy. Hate to use
I'm
you.
leaving.
Oh, is that the
I'm-
penetrator you were talking about? That was the
It's
black and red.
matte black
Yeah.
with white wheels.
And he's
Black
got
Adam,
a
catch
red
him
neon.
up.
I'm coming, guys. I'm going after them, guys.
But
We got
that's
this.
what she said.
Okay. Let's do this wall riding.
Down on them haters. Here we go. Here we go. Hardeep, you ever gonna join us, bro? You never join us, man. All right, see, I'm catching up, man. Yeah, I think so. I think you bought one. Hey, Joe. Catching up. Hey, girl, Gamer Nation. Come on. Come on. Come on. We're going.
Take him out.
Come on.
Everyone's here now.
Bye.
Oh, take him out.
Remember when you said we couldn't catch up, buddy? Or when,
I didn't say that.
or when you said you were really far up?
Just messed up.
Hey, Danny.
Like, do you see that the T20 bumped me in the back and it just spun out?
Oh my gosh, you guys are so far freaking ahead. Hey, King
Come on,
Tobias.
Fernando, we can team up. Wait, that's not you.
That's not me.
here.
What are you talking about?
I thought you were the blue Wagner.
Oh, yeah. Ah! I messed up. I'm sorry, whoever I just took out. Oh, there goes the blue Wagner. That's how you take a drift nicely, guys. Take notes. Take notes. Who's Nightbot? It's actual person that calls himself a bot. We ain't 480. All right, awesome, Hardeep. Can't wait, bro. Can't wait to get you in here. Come in, Shadow. Hey, Manuel Rivera. Puerto Rico. Greetings from Puerto Rico. That's pretty dope. Come on, Shadow. Slow down. Slow down. Slow down.
No.
Yo, we're so close to 12,500 subscribers, man. This is insane, guys. You guys are killing it today. That is so freaking close. We have so many people joining Brownman, too.
No, not so fast, Lincoln. It's my first place.
Why?
Yo, I guarantee we're gonna get all mixed up by Fernando.
Hey, flashing with Jay. What are you talking about? I'll never take anybody out. Love taps.
Love
Did that really work out for you?
Sorry, like.
Ah! Giving you a love tap! Come here, come here, come here. Come here, come here, come here. Shadow, that was your fault, eh? You tried love tapping me. I didn't even do anything.
What are you
Come on, Lincoln.
Hey, Omar. Hey, Clash. Welcome into the stream, everybody. As always, if you haven't liked already, please do. We're almost at 200 likes. Thank you, Expert Knight, for subscribing. We're only 15 subscribers away!
Some room, Fernando.
Bro, why is all your parts black and white?
Hey, hey, why are you turning on me?
I don't know.
I'm just trying to go straight, bro. What is an
if you wanna go all the way into the guardrail, it's fine.
Oh my god, why'd you drink that?
I just there was something in front of me, bro. I had to brake check, you know.
Yo, Fernando, get away from me.
What are you talking about?
I'm trying to get in front of the brake check,
Thanks for the push.
No problem, buddy. Just trying to help a fellow YouTuber out. Hey, Wolf. Take a push. Take a push.
Oh no!
Oh, Shadow. Shadow's dirty.
I didn't do that. You guys.
I keep brake checking this guy. It didn't work that time. Hey, Jeremy. What's up, guys? Oh!
That's dirty, like.
I got him out too. Don't worry.
Oh, I missed the checkpoint, damn it.
Oh!
That's dirty, Lincoln.
Yo, did you guys all just mess up from that?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Wait.
I'm gonna slow down and take them out. Yo, we're so close to 12,490 subscribers. I think we just hit it. We freaking just passed it by a mile. Yo, you guys are killing it.
Oh. I did nothing, man.
I'll sub to you if you sub to me. Just respond. I responded. Ha, got him. That'd be a hit time. Alright, yo, don't worry. We'll catch up. Jelly, I don't know about Jelly, but we got this. Jelly, how'd you get so far back, bro? I thought you just missed it and came back.
The checkpoint.
Yeah, so didn't Shadow? Weren't you right beside Shadow?
Shadow hit me in the wall.
No,
Oh
Lincoln
shit, no
bumped
barrel
me and I was sandwiching someone and then Lincoln, I mean not Lincoln. Jelly got squished into a wall. And I'm gonna get my dirty revenge on someone named Lincoln.
You might want to break right now. No! How did that mess me up? We good. We good. Bro, I just kept going on the right side. That was lit.
Dude, that was my sand the whole time.
You're about to see my plan real quick. Hey, Swampy.
Just take
Can you tell me
Shadow
what
out.
to
I'll let you come first if you take Shadow out.
What do you mean you'll let me come first? I'll let you live if you, stay back there. Come on, come on, come on, guys! Right now, hashtag take shadow. Oh shit! Take myself out.
Great driving, buddy.
Hashtag.
No, you guys will cut him. Fernando sad.
Jolly,
Hey, Robbins.
Jolly, catch him up. You saw what he did.
Jolly, catch up to Shadow first. What do you care about more? Winning the race or taking someone out as revenge?
Get the revenge, man. You want vengeance?
Come
Take
on,
him out.
Shadow's the devil. Shadow is the devil.
Yes, I agree. What?
Yeah.
No,
Oh.
you might mind me.
Come on, no, there's no way I'll catch up. Take each other out, guys.
No,
Don't keep that my ass.
that was Shadow.
Come on! Why can't I freaking catch up? No!
Come on, Jolly.
No!
Break, man.
No! Brake check him! Brake check him! Brake check him! Yes! 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 He betrayed his Belgian brother.
Oh,
Oh, that was dirty.
No, he
Yeah,
didn't
that's how it
betray
is.
me. I was actually, I was just driving in front of him.
Oh, I know. I
Yeah,
saw you
from
trying to
passing
stop him.
me.
I saw. Yeah, we'll do one more, guys. Send up friend requests. Yo, we're only 3 subscribers away and 1 like away. What can we hit first? 12,500 subscribers or 200 likes? Hey, Clash. Oh, that was close, dude. I don't know how I messed up by such a stupid mistake. Like, I legit just hit a stationary pole. I mean, freaking middle platform.
At least I win in style.
That was an insane race, man. Just come on, Fernando, get place first. We're 200 likes. Let's go. Let's go. Hey, Nathan Miller. Hey, Rowan. Hey, Blue Wolves. Hey, Sophia. Yeah, that's pretty insane. Guys, join up on our community and submit friend requests. We're going to do one more race so we get one more set of 30 people. Or 20, I think. We have 20 spaces left. Hey, Liam. Hey, Ernest. Hey, Joey. Hey, Jonathan. Hey, Rowan. Yeah, that was insane. Yo, I feel like it was us ever after that bridge. It was just us, you know?
yeah.
Like, it was just us. That's crazy, though. I didn't take that in. We hit 200 likes. Thank you, guys. I feel like that was an understatement, the way I said thank you. Hey, Patty. Hey, Liam. Let's go. Replay. Let's get together and take Shadow out. Thank you, SMG,
Nah,
for
man.
subscribing.
I did nothing.
Hey, Jonathan. Fernando, call me MMI. Remember the tank blew you up? Moore's Mutual Insurance? Oh. I don't get it.
With mutual insurance, how may I help you?
Facts. Oh, there we go. This guy comes on advertising saying, join Mafia, dick. They're the biggest Mafia channel in the world.
He does it to every channel. Do you just want me to do the banhammer thingy? Or?
Yeah, that ass. Hey, Marginton. Hey, Tay. Alright, let's do this. Hey, Jonathan. How many people do you have in here? How many? How many? That's for anyone that's joining late. The new car did cost $1,250,000, which is a steep, steep price, but it's very worth it. Very, very worth it. Okay.
I mean, the Insurgent I think is more expensive.
No, isn't it like 700K?
I don't remember.
We hit 12,500 subscribers. Thank you so much, everybody. Really do appreciate it, guys. That means we're almost at 13,000, and that means we have to announce the giveaway winner.
You already announced it.
Okay, so this may sound very unorganized, but how do we pick the giveaway winner?
Random picker? No, never mind.
No, because here's the requirements, right? They have to
Yeah,
follow
yeah, I know.
our Instagram, Twitter, and be subscribed.
Do you know
How
how,
do we pick
Gleam.io works?
Does it check all that?
Yeah, normally
Does
it
it?
does. Yeah.
Alright, I guess
don't know how
we'll
to
do
set
that.
it up, but
Yeah, I'll set up. Thank you. Alright, well, so that's how we're going to do it, guys. Thank you so much for 12,500 subscribers. We got over 120 or 130. No, 140 subscribers this stream, which is insane. And we're still going strong. Thank you so much, everybody. Spam hashtag 12.5K. When should we do it? We'll do it
They
soon. We'll do it
say by the weekend. say?
No, I want to do it like today-ish. But like, I want to do a live stream on my phone where we pick the person. Like, I'm gonna live stream it live from my phone of us picking the person on the computer. Hey, Robin, tell you real. Hey, Brian. I'm subscribed. Thank you. Sorry, what? Rev?
You could do it tonight.
Yeah, actually, we could do that tonight. Pretty kill. Yeah, we're at 200 likes. Sorry?
There's 28 people in this session right now. This is gonna be crazy.
Dead ass. This is gonna be a crazy race, guys.
You're gonna make a video thing.
Huh?
Are you gonna do a live stream or like a video of the winner?
I'm gonna do a live stream of me picking it on my phone. So it's gonna be kind of like a video. It's not gonna be that long. But it's gonna be a live stream posted from my phone. Hey, Tom. Hey, Sophia. Hey, Margaret. Hey, Blue. Get him there. Let's do another like spike. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Like spike!
Bye.
Your boy's out, bro. Is that good?
Nice.
The new vehicle is the Nightshark. I'll show it off before we end it off. We gotta go check out the liveries, so don't leave yet. After this race, we gotta go check out liveries.
Yeah,
Oh my god! Oh! How did I survive that? What the heck? Woo! Let's close. Hey, Margaret. Best live stream in a while, says Jonathan. Thank you so much, Jonathan. We will be checking out the Nightshark liveries, which we didn't get to check out, so do stay tuned for that.
The wall, that's scary.
That's how you break hard. Yeah, next up, 13K. I saw that. Yo, next up, 13K, man. We're only 500 subscribers away. We got this. I was gonna clap.
Oh my god.
How you doing, Yuria? Chuck Norris, ID, and Army and Reinforcement. Kate says, what color should my Nightshark be? Go with a bright and dark color mixture. It looks really nice on it.
Hey man, get away from my rear
Take
tire.
shadow out.
I want to say hi to your rear tire if you know what I mean.
Ew.
Jolly, where you at, bro? Where you at, man?
I crashed a lot in the start, but now I'm in 6th spot, so I'm almost there.
True. Oh, God.
I'm behind this door.
Hey, Tom.
About to get shot.
Come on, come on. Oh, shit.
Bye, Len.
You know, it's so fun sitting without blinking.
There's a tiny space that he can make it through and he missed.
Oh my god, man.
Like, you just stop trying, man.
Shadow, coming for you. Coming for you, Shadow.
That way, Jelly. That way, Jelly. No, not that way, Jelly. No, not that way, Jelly.
Hey, make it a three-way, okay?
No. Take Shadow out.
Jelly, you good, bro?
I'm good, bro. I'm good, bro. I don't need
You like my middle finger, bro?
Oh, heck yeah.
Bro, give me some road, man. Oh, no. Yes, I saved it.
Oh my gosh. How did that not work out for Jelly? What? Poor
Yo,
guy.
where's Lincoln at?
Blanket, what?
Where did this guy come from?
Okay, Lincoln.
Hey, Tom. What's up, Paul? Why did I read that comment? We're almost at 510 subscribers, guys. Let's get it. Let's get it. Whoa, Jelly! Bro! On my screen, I didn't even touch you. Hey, Jonathan.
That wasn't your bad anyways.
No, I swerved way too hard.
Get off
No,
me.
Shadow, be careful, bro. Oh, is this type of game you want to play, eh?
Oh, shoot. Jelly, please.
Ah!
Oh, yeah! That's Teddy.
Teddy Leatherface? When did this guy come back? I remember him. Hey,
I
Jelly.
took me out in the start of the race too.
He used to be here a long time ago, too. Hey, little Caleb.
Hey, Fernando, did you see that? I braked to give you some slipstream.
Yeah, man. Appreciate it.
My line can win.
Oh, that was close. Go, 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 go. Hey, Blue Wolf.
Well, this way the animals are close to each other.
Oh, shit. I'm braking hard. Oh, my God. You went flying, bro.
I mean, I gotta give you some content.
Fernando, I would like to apologize for brake checking you. I
The
hate
moment
you.
Shadow realized he wasn't making it back.
Oh no, I can. Back. Never mind. I gotta respawn. Fuck.
No, Shadow, you're even behind me now.
Hit me.
No, no.
We got a long race.
I mean, yeah, it's pretty long. We're only at the military base right now. Legit, we've only gone halfway. Hit Crazy
Oh,
2.
that was
Hit
sick.
2K Goat. Yo, can we get 520 subscribers? That'd be insanity.
Who's first?
I have people trying to take me out back here.
Good.
Huh, what happened? How'd you get that far? Weren't you like second place?
No, I was in like 5th, but then like some blue ugly trash looking at 11 came up.
Really? Big check.
It didn't work that time. Teddy, I order you to attack.
No, Teddy, attack him.
You crazy, bub.
Shadow, I order you to take my slipstream.
Alright.
Yeah, we're on
Not
PS4,
gonna-
guys. So if you want to join us, send me a friend request at Fernando353.
Alright, Jelly, we gotta team up.
Oh,
I
oh,
was
almost
pretty far
lost
back, but I let those 3 guys
my
pass
grip
so we
there.
could team up.
Freaking Teddy. Teddy.
Oh, watch out, Shadow.
Alright, go, Jelly, go. Crap, I think no.
yo, I need to
Oh,
freaking
shit.
catch up, man. Rev, where'd you
What
go?
place are you in?
What the heck, Rev? I'm in 4th
What are you
place.
doing?
I'm like 20 meters away from the 1st place and 2nd place, but like, I'm just gonna chill back here. I really feel like this is safer for my being.
Oh, what the hell happened? I hit something. What?
Your brother experiences that too. No, deadass. He sent me a video of him hitting nothing. That was.
But I've been flying.
I know. No,
Shadow,
deadass. Like
Shadow,
glitching.
a little slower.
Oh shit, yo, I'm losing now.
I-
Gotta
I-
catch up.
I-
It's okay. Here, deep.
Okay. 3, 2, 1.
How are these guys catching up to me?
Yep.
No. It's
Go, go,
time
go.
to
Go, go, go.
get
I'll
away.
get the person that
So
speaks
baby,
on it.
don't worry. You are my only.
Oh, we're back, baby.
This is for earlier, Teddy.
Guys, please don't take me out. I just want to have a friendly race. I only took Shadow out because he tried taking me out.
What?
We brake check.
Wow.
Brake check had a potential of messing me up for the whole race.
No, it was a love tap, like you said.
Yeah, I tapped you back a
Look,
little.
lap tap right now.
We good. We good. We good.
What?
I'm coming back. Just know, I am coming back. Oh my gosh, that
I
guy's
did
wall.
nothing wrong.
He wall rolled and he came back. Oh.
Lagging
How do you-
good, bro?
Oh.
Checkpoint, I don't know how.
I'm scared now.
Frick, man. I was first on 10th.
How'd you even crash? Like, I didn't...
I know you hit a wall.
Shadow, Shadow.
Hello, gaming. I just subscribed. Thank you so much. We're only 5 subscribers away. So 5 people watching the stream have not yet subscribed. What the hell are you doing, Jelly?
Oh,
Please do subscribe.
don't worry, don't worry.
Oh yeah, you should probably worry
I'm
now.
not winning this anyways.
I saw that hit at the end. Poor guy.
I got hit again.
Cool.
Probably got hit pretty bad too.
Yeah!
Thank you.
Yeah! Yeah!
Go Shadow, go. We got this.
Bro, he made me miss the checkpoint.
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know. I've never done
Just
anything.
really hit the brakes. Okay.
I've never done anything like that, okay, Shadow? I just want you to know. I'm a good person. Alright, Jerry, let's take everyone out and try getting Shadow to catch up.
Jelly, pick him up.
Wee!
Oh, that was
Nailed it.
sick!
Oh,
Oh,
I
dude,
almost landed that.
if you landed and you kept going, that would have been freaking madness. I'm taking everyone out for you, Shadow.
Take yourself out too.
Alright,
Right?
I'll do that next. Sorry. Hey, dude.
I'm behind you, Jelly.
Let's do
No,
this.
this
We can
Wagner's gonna
still
beat
do
me.
this.
No.
We can do this.
No, I'm not getting your slipstream. Jelly, yeah.
I gotta go. I gotta do this.
No, I got a cat.
Y'all ain't catching me. Are you good?
Triple Young catch him.
No! Oh, that was risky!
Yo, go.
That was risky and frisky.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I almost got up to Fernando. Oh, dude!
I
got
braked.
it.
I tried stopping you. It's on me, Julian. Here you are. Well, guys, on that note, we hit 227 likes and 12,518 subscribers, which is so crazy. Yeah, it's crazy. And we had almost 250. We had 250 people watching, which is insane too. Thank you so much for all the support, guys. As always, I really appreciate it. And as always, we will be announcing a giveaway winner. So if you haven't already, all you have to do to enter is follow my Twitter, follow my Instagram, subscribe, and stay tuned for that video. But you better do that in like the next couple of minutes, because we will be announcing it soon. And yeah, thank you so much to Charlie, Shadow, and Rev for joining. Really do appreciate it, guys. And we will see you guys next time. Thank you so much for coming by. Until next time, we will do a rainbow stream too. And peace out.